Hi Aries, welcome to your mid-November 2018 Tarot and Astrology reading. How are you all doing? Hopefully quite well, actually. The Magician just popped out right off the bat. Manifesting energy, making things happen, making things last. I don't know if you can see the little infinity sign above him, indicating that the beginning steps of this journey are infinite. The beginning of this journey will last for years to come. It's all about having all the right tools. He has this cup, which represents his emotional side. He has the wand, which represents his spiritual side, the pentacle, the earth side, the physical, the air, the sword, mental. He's all these tools behind him. He's powerful. It represents alchemy. What you're thinking at the moment is turning to reality. Bear that in mind as Mars shifts into Pisces, which is the hidden side of the sky for you, the secrets. Some refer to it as the hidden enemy. But you got this under control because you have all the tools necessary. You're on the beginning stage of a new journey, of a new cycle in your life, Aries, and you're feeling more equipped to deal with it. Uranus is retrograding back into your sign. And we all know about Uranus, it's that little bit more unpredictable. It's exciting, it's rebellious. And you might be trying to rebel against something which has had your focus for quite a long time, but has not been going anywhere. Something in your life that you're feeling a strong impulse to change, a strong desire to change. It could be romantic, it could be marital, it could be many things that come under the partnership bracket, as Venus has been retrograding in Libra, which for you represents partnerships. Business partnerships, romantic partnerships, what we get and receive from the other person. There's a big cosmic shift there, and we had your full moon back in October as well, Aries, which was very highly charged. And now Jupiter has gone into the 9th house for you, which is very expansive. It's very exciting. It's very optimistic. And you are more than capable of dealing with Uranus retrograding into your sign when Jupiter goes into Sagittarius, because Jupiter is the benefic, the manifester. King of Swords, air sign, Aquarius, Libra, Gemini. 5 of Wands, confrontation or competition. What is serving you is the 8 of Pentacles, indicating growth and knowledge. The Lovers is the challenge, indicating an indecisive arena. And the 5 of Cups. And the 10 of Wands. Yes, the unpredictable challenges, the unpredictable changes which have happened. Now, what this is, Aries, is quite, I would say quite minor. But it's clearing the air, is one way I see this. It's clearing the air of all the negative chatter and all the negative energies which have been put out there into the ether. Because as we know, what we put out has a habit of coming back to us, sometimes stronger. The interesting point to make with the 5 of Cups is that a lot of it is to do with perception. Perception of our circumstances, perception of ourself. He's donning this long black cloak, which is quite mysterious in its way, but it's also quite indicative of the grieving process. Maybe we've lost somebody, maybe we have lost a relationship, maybe we feel somewhat isolated, maybe we feel somewhat alone, maybe there was an unpredicted loss recently for you, or maybe you're just not feeling completely comfortable with your lot in life, but you're willing to put in the energy in creating something new. With the Magician, as I said, you have all the tools to manifest greater things. With the 10 of Wands, I do feel like you've been putting a lot of effort into things which have been showing no fruition, and you're ready to release a couple of burdens. 10 of Wands and the 5 of Wands together can also be indicative of getting the wrong end of the stick, feeling on edge, feeling a little bit uncomfortable. Discord with those around you, snapping and saying the wrong thing, having a conflicting attitude, walking on eggshells, possibly with an air sign, possibly with an Aries, Libra, or a Gemini. Particularly maybe a Gemini, because we have the Lovers and we had the Magician. So there could be Gemini energy surrounding you, or you could be grieving something that happened in June or late May. There's a sense of disharmony with some relationship in your life. The Lovers is in the challenge position. The Lovers represents this raw vulnerability, this raw harmony with another person, connection, how we make our decisions in our romantic life. And that's what the challenge is. So you're not finding it easy to make a decision, Aries, regarding someone or something. And it could be because you're dealing with someone who is not showing their hand. King of Swords, he is noble in his endeavors, but he's not exactly emotionally demonstrative. You don't always know where you stand with him, really, because you can't penetrate through his gaze as to what's going on underneath. These steely eyes, he's a steely personality. I think you're feeling stuck about a person. I think you're feeling a bit stuck in momentum, and I don't think you're enjoying it, because Aries, Mars, and then Mars is moving into the passive sign of Pisces, and you're wondering, when am I going to get this break? Now, with Mercury retrograding in Sagittarius, maybe the communication is off. And certainly, Aries, in terms of Mercury this year, it's been retrograding in all these fire signs. And that can sometimes make you feel like, although you have a voice, you're not necessarily being heard, or you're not being heard correctly. You may often this year have heard the phrase, "What did you mean by that?" Or "What's that supposed to mean?" I get the impression that you're feeling a little bit misunderstood, and you're trying to just get on with the day-to-day, but you're tired of being accused of things. You're tired of having to explain your opinion or what you meant to say. And quite honestly, I think this King of Swords has maybe caused a little bit of difficulty for you, because for some reason, whether it be whatever's going on in your chart, this person can maybe be possessing a very different thought process. There's also the with Uranus retrograding back into your sign, Aries, there's a possibility completely that this person may be thinking clearly and you may not. And it is possibly because of Venus retrograding in your partner sector, you may have this little bit of nostalgia attached to times gone by, or the way things should be, or the way things were, which nostalgia is not necessarily an Aries trait. They're more forward thinking, they're more forward charging, forward momentum. But with Venus retrograde in your partnership sector, you may have had to reassess exactly what type of relationship you wanted, or where the shortcomings were. Venus retrograde can reveal these shortcomings in your relationships, in your business relationships or partnerships, interestingly as well. So this could be completely work related. You could be going through an unusual transition whereby you don't necessarily feel that your direction is clear, or your direction is correct, or that nobody gets the vision. But that's just not true, okay? That's just not where we're going with this. Ten of Swords, you've had an extreme disappointment or an end of an extremely negative phase. Something has frightened you, shocked you, and you are now into High Priestess mode, whereby you want to listen to your intuition, but you're fighting it for some reason. You don't trust it. The two pillars here represent duality, the dark and the light. And Aries, we all know that life is full of contrast, and the dark side and the light side both must exist and be accepted. That is the message of the High Priestess. But not everything is as it seems, okay? There's a profound experience awaiting you, but you just have to get off this track. The Three of Swords, Judgment, and the Two of Cups. This is amazing, Aries. This is a journey within a journey. Ace of Wands. Amidst the darkness emerges this real, incredible, raw, beautiful energy. that exists when we accept the dark shadow side of ourselves and of others. Now, a little disclaimer in there. If you are dealing with an incredibly toxic relationship with emotional abuse, this doesn't apply to you, because if that is your case, you need to do what's right for you and do what's right by you, seek additional help, etc. This isn't for that, because the Ten of Swords indicates to me that some of you could have been in an incredibly awful situation with a person in this position. I do feel like you may have suffered a real heartbreak or a loss with somebody. If someone has betrayed you, that is someone that you can let go. What I'm talking about is when you've been with somebody like that in the past, or you've suffered a great loss in the past and it affects how you love presently with somebody new. And amazingly, there is always, with people, there's always going to be the shadow side to a person. And if you've been very badly hurt before, the glimmer of the shadow is something which can submerge you in fear. And I know as an Aries, you're probably saying, I'm not scared of anything. That's fine. But your subconscious isn't always that clear. You know, human beings, when they fear attack or they fear a threat, a lot of the time they fight or flight. Okay? I think for some of you, you're fighting. For a lot of you, your perspective is on this pillar, this dark pillar. And you're not seeing this light pillar. There is a bright side in whatever this is. Three of Swords is in the positive position, which suggests to me you're healing from a heartbreak. You're acknowledging it with the Three of Cups here. You're getting it. You're seeing it. You've been there. You understand it's happened. I think some of you maybe regret some words that were said. Some of you may even regret someone you left behind. Maybe some of you flee the situation. Some of you fighting, some of you fleeing. But then there's this. I don't know if you can see the interesting, I just love when these cards come up like this, because he's looking at these three that have spilled and the two are standing, and here's what happens if he turns around and looks at the two. Do you know? It's actually really, really, really pretty. And when you look at this as well, this background, there's this bridge, and it's like we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, or we'll build a bridge. This is like building a bridge. Do you know? One of the most difficult things for people to come to terms with who practice the law of attraction is the concept of fear, because we manifest what we're afraid of, and I think that makes a lot of people uncomfortable. But if you have ever heard the expression, I think it was a book by Susan Jeffers which said, feel the fear and do it anyway. That's kind of where I'm going with this. You fear this connection, or you fear this union. You fear the vulnerability of it for some of you. And this is quite deep for Aries. I think Aries is a lot more lively and exciting than this, the way it sounds. But there's something really, really beautiful here, and I want to sort of walk you through it rather than just say it's good. So, Judgment in the Lovers, I feel like the challenge was a relationship that has ended. Okay? Or a saga which has ended. I do think there's some remorse over an ending, or there's remorse over decisions which were made that came from a place of fear, a place of fear of vulnerability. Your vulnerability is what is not serving you. With Uranus in your sign, and it retrograding in particular, the energies are unpredictable, and unpredictability can lead to uncertainty, and uncertainty can lead to insecurity if left unattended. And with the High Priestess, I think it is this fear of the dark. Because in the dark you don't see exactly what's there, but if you just turned on the light, you would see everything in great detail. So your concentration is on the dark, And you need to be concentrating on this light that is on offer. This light side of the High Priestess, which is in turn offering you this Two of Cups moment. The Three of Swords in the positive position, as I say, healing. Healing from a heartbreak. Putting in the work and the effort to grow. Attending to your business. Watching what it is that you do. Looking after yourself. Looking after your body. Watching what you eat. Which are all great things, and they're very, very, very common in Aries. I don't know any Aries that doesn't look after their physical fitness and their body. But it's the mentality and the emotional health, which is where I'm going with this. So there's something very beautiful if you just turn around, you know? If you just look the other way. Because when he's looking at those Three of Cups, there's no way he can even sense the Two of Cups that's behind him. His dark cloak. Dark energy. But he just has to turn around. That's the magic of that card for me. I think it's all about your perspective. It's all about that shift. Because with the Magician, you're manifesting exactly what it is that you're focusing on. And you can manifest this. You can manifest this connection, whether it be romantic, whether it be friendship, whether it be a new career, a new job, a new home. Could have been a water sign, actually. It could have been a Scorpio, Cancer, or a Pisces. King of Pentacles, Knight of Pentacles, Three of Wands, the Knight of Cups, and the Seven of Cups, and the Page of Wands. I can see that a lot of you have pain from a lover, from a romantic prospect. For a lot of you, I think it's kind of a one that got away person. You know, that person that it never quite reached its full potential. But then who's to say it was going to? Interestingly, with the Three of Wands and the Three of Swords, although they're not in the challenge position, I kind of look at them and think maybe this was long distance, maybe this was somebody who lived abroad and you didn't feel like it was going to work, so you left, or they didn't feel it was going to work, so you left. There was a third influence, and I feel like it could have been geographical, but it may have been people, maybe family. You know, in life, third parties oftentimes are other influences that aren't necessarily infidelity. And, you know, I think sometimes, as I say, you know, where we shift our focus, what we're very afraid of will manifest. And it can be past life karma. Sometimes you can find as a child, even, you know, you look back on what your greatest fear was as a child, and I know you're an Aries, you don't have many, but if you do, you would be, you know, a real fear, you know, not like a monster under the bed or whatever. It's what you learned to deal with that fear when it happened. As I say, it manifests. Sometimes what you're scared of can manifest if that's what your focus is rather than what is more enjoyable to you. And this Seven of Cups with the Two of Cups is a romantic relationship or a partnership which has some degree of mystery. It has some degree of fog. It may be a person that can cloud your judgment, or something that because you care about so much, you go straight to the other side, which is fear, because you're afraid of losing it. But you shouldn't be afraid of losing something you don't have yet, because that will block it. And when you get there, and you do have it, you won't enjoy it if you're afraid of losing it. And then when you lose it, you'll wish you had it again. If you find something good, Aries, and I think a lot of you have, if you have found this bright side of the High Priestess, the light, you can accept the dark, but you don't have to live there. All you have to do is turn around and see the two cups that are on offer. There's a connection. There is a possibly a reconnection. There is some kind of meeting of minds, meeting of hearts, and meeting of souls at the end of November, which could cloud your judgment because that connection is scary. The raw vulnerability of it is scary. This is something that means a lot to you. And I noticed for a lot of the signs in these mid-November readings, fear has been a real catalyst for avoidance. And I don't know if it is the Scorpio energy, because that can be very common in a Scorpio personality. What they care about the most, they run from without realizing it, because I think, rejection is protection in some cases. You could be dealing with a Scorpio actually with judgment there. And there's a lot of water sign energy, as I say. We've Pisces, Scorpio, Cancer. We've most elements here, to be honest, with the King of Swords, the Pentacles person, the Wands person, the Cups person. So who you're dealing with is completely tailored to you and your situation. But with the Seven of Cups, I get this impression that you don't want something that's going to cloud your judgment. And you don't want to make the wrong decision either. Because judgment is the higher frequency that we tune into when we want to manifest something, and it's in the challenge, so I don't feel like you're there, which is why I want you to be accepting of your shadow side and accepting of the light side too. You need to have the contrast in order to appreciate exactly what it is. Maybe you had to lose something to gain appreciation for the next person that comes along. Maybe you lost somebody and it makes you love harder in the next relationship. Maybe you lost a job and it makes you work harder in the next one. Or it sets you free to follow your calling because maybe you haven't been with the challenge here. There's a real fantasy element of this, Aries, whereby you could feel totally submerged in this euphoria. And you're just not seeing it that way. The Two of Cups is all about partnership, yes. It's about attraction, yes. And then the Seven of Cups adds this sort of imagination aspect. So maybe you worry that it's all in your head, or maybe you get mixed signals from the person. Maybe they're a bit mysterious. Let's clarify, because I'm curious. The Seven of Cups, so we clarify what this is. The Two of Swords. You're in two minds about this. I think there's a new connection that you're not willing to embrace. And I think it's because you got your blindfold on. Or you're worried about putting on a blindfold because you know love is blind and you don't want to be silly. You don't want to look a fool. You don't want to commit to somebody or something that can generate unsteady emotions in you. Because that's not what an emperor really does, is it? But this is something you wished for. Something emotionally fulfilling. This is something you wished for, Aries. This is something big. This card's come up quite a lot, and I think it is because Jupiter has left Scorpio and moved into a new sign, and as we all know, Jupiter, the great benefic, leaves a gift for everyone. For you, as it was the 8th house, maybe it was a sudden loss that has, in a strange, I suppose it's darkly ironic, a loss that has brought you something else. Maybe you were in a relationship that suddenly ended and you were devastated. And then as time went on, you maybe realised this wasn't right. That wasn't right. I didn't know that before. That wasn't right. Why was I there? Why was this happening? And then you get this new person, and you're like, wow, they're amazing, but I got it wrong before. Or there's this friendship where maybe things went really wrong and they've reached out with Venus retrograde, or a past partner, and you think, this went really wrong before. I really messed this up. They really messed this up. Is it worth it? Provided they're a good person. It might be. Point of this is, Aries, something's manifesting for you that you wanted, but you've got the spooks. And the Two of Cups here is suggesting a real connection with somewhat of a fantasy element. It's interesting. I think regardless of the circumstances, regardless of whether this is an ex, somebody new, or whatever it is, Aries, the connection is the key. There's a connection here. And when we get connections in our life, because they don't always happen that easy, when we have a connection, it's worth to examine it. And it is, a lot of the time, you shouldn't beat yourself up for giving relationships a chance when they go wrong, because the life we live is a lot to do with connection, whether it's with ourselves, whether it's with somebody else. But you can show compassion, release judgments about yourself and others, and focus on the love and light that is within everyone. Love and light. Light side. Siege, quiet time. Take some time alone to rest, meditate, and contemplate. Golden opportunity. Important doors are opening for you right now. Walk through them. And underneath, we have transformation. You're experiencing enormous change right now, which brings great blessings. It's the dawn of a new day with Jupiter and Sagittarius for everyone. And maybe after a lengthy cycle in Scorpio, people have become a little bit more suspicious, or a little bit more introverted, or a little bit more Scorpiophonic in certain ways, depending on Jupiter in your chart. But there's a gift here, Aries. It's up to you whether you take it or not. But when we are dealing with our shadow side, do remember that you are a loving person and you deserve to be loved. And with fight or flight, neither results in exactly what it is that you want. If anything, if you just change your perspective and don't view it as something worth fearing, it transforms completely. And you can have this beautiful butterfly moment where you emerge ready to engage with others and love others and trust your own power of manifestation, because you've manifested something and it is worth giving it a shot and living out the dream. And I hope you do. So I love you guys, and I will talk to you in December. Bye, Aries.